If you're over 30 and it feels like your metabolism just quit on you, you're not crazy. What worked in your 20s is not working anymore. You eat pretty healthy, you try to be active, yet your body feels slower, softer, and more tired. Today I'm going to show you how to actually fix that, not with starvation, not with endless cardio or anything else you've tried before, and not with trendy fasting windows. We're going to talk about 3 levers that I used to help over 227 people lose 15 to 30 pounds in 90 days. This is all about turning your metabolism back on through 3 things: strength training, my 320 eating method, and stress control. Stay with me, okay? We're going to really dive into this stuff. I'm going to get into it a little bit later in this video. This is going to be stuff that no one teaches you, that you can't just find anywhere over the internet, okay? So we'll start with your metabolism. Why does it feel broken once you hit 30? There are big things that happen. First, most people lose muscle every decade after 30 if they're not training on purpose. Muscle is not just for looks. It is literally your body's metabolic engine. More muscle means you burn more calories. Muscle is active tissue, so it takes a lot of energy for your body to maintain it once you start to build it, which is good, which means your resting metabolic rate is going to continue to increase, which means you burn more and more energy with little and little more effort. You burn calories even when you're sitting, working, or sleeping. Second, years of dieting and trying to eat light. This may sound good at first. If you continue to underfeed your body, it puts it into survival mode. What do I mean? So we have a thyroid gland that sits in about our neck area, and when we consistently undereat, it starts to slow our metabolic rate to protect us. Your body has what we call a basal metabolic rate, which is the basic amount of energy your body needs just to exist, let alone function, think, move, and do all the other things that we do in our day. So when we get really close to our basal metabolic rate, or we'll just call it BMR, what our body will start to do is it'll start to conserve energy. Right. So consistently underfeeding it will put our body into energy conservation mode, which will obviously lead to us storing more and more fat. And third, stress goes up, right? As we get older, we have jobs, kids, bills, aging parents. Life just gets heavier. Things just get harder. Naturally, stress starts to creep up. We know that stress hormones like cortisol continue to spike. And the problem is, and I'll tell you something different because you hear this all over the internet about cortisol spiking. That's not always bad. Right? Hormones need to spike at certain points. Like your blood sugar, its spiking is not necessarily bad. Your blood sugar should spike at certain points. The problem is when your cortisol continues to spike and stays spiked, it starts to impact your sleep. You get less quality sleep or just less sleep in general, and your body becomes more likely to store fat, specifically in the gut area and in the organs. And that's what leads to what we call visceral fat. And of course, the more fat you store, the less you're eating. You're not lifting weights, you're not building muscle. Your body's going to store more and more fat, and you're going to be burning a lot less, of course. So if you feel like I look at food and gain weight, that is why. Now, the good news is you can reverse this, but you need a different strategy than just eat less and move more. How I help my clients is by focusing on 3 things. We focus on lifting heavy enough so our body starts to adapt, to build muscle, and build strength. We focus on my 3-2 eating 1 structure. This keeps your metabolism regulated instead of panicking and sending your body into starvation mode. And we focus on calming the stress response so your hormones actually cooperate with fat loss and muscle gain instead of just fighting you. Now, let's break each one down. First lever, strength training. If you're over 30 and you're not lifting, you're literally driving with the parking brake on. Cardio is not the enemy, it's just not the main engine, okay? 3 to 4 strength training sessions per week will completely obliterate 7 days of random cardio for body change and for metabolism every single time. Here's what I have all my people do. Big movements that train a lot of muscle at once, right? That's your squats or your leg presses, hip hinges, deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, pushes like bench press or push-ups, pulls like rows or pull downs. 2 to 3 sets per exercise, 8 to 12 solid reps. We're going to control tempo, full range of motion, and the goal is simple. Use enough weight that the last 2 reps are extremely challenging, but not sloppy. When you do this consistently, your body starts to adapt. And here's a few other key pointers I want to throw in there as well. Make sure you log and keep track of the weights, the reps, the sets, everything that you're doing. The goal every single week or every 2 weeks or every month, it doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you're looking back at the weight and the reps and the sets that you've done previously with these exercises and you're finding some way to increase it. I like to say I try to increase 5 to 10 pounds on a single lift every single month. If it's an exercise that's more single joint, like a tricep extension or a curl, I'll try to increase my reps or the volume in which I do it. So find some way to intensify the exercises that you're doing so you can ensure that you're gaining and you're improving and you're intensifying the workout while also still getting progress. And remember, the goal is not to have a good workout and get a good sweat. It's to do whatever it takes to tear down your muscles so when you eat, you recover, you build more of it. More muscle equals higher resting caloric burn, better blood sugar control, and less fat storage. This is how you start to fix that slow metabolism without starving or crazy cardio and diets. The second lever is all about eating structure. Most people are not stuck because they eat too much. They are stuck because they eat in a very chaotic or disorganized manner. Coffee and crumbs in the morning, random snacking all day, then a huge dinner and late night grazing and snacking. This pattern completely just wrecks your energy and your hormones and even your hunger signals. So inside my coaching, we use something I like to call the 3-2-1 eating method. This is something I discovered when I first got into the coaching world, and I was working with people and was successful at helping them build muscle and get stronger, but they weren't seeing the weight come off. So I started to take a deep dive into how they were eating and what they were doing, and I noticed their food intake, they weren't necessarily overeating or eating a bunch of food, but the timing of their eating was very bad. Oftentimes they were skipping breakfast or having breakfast really late, light lunch, and they were eating a lot of food at night before they went to bed. And I took it upon myself to study that, to figure out, was that the key to changing everything, to helping them finally lose weight, finally lose fat, and start to lose inches. And lo and behold, I was correct. The first person I did it with lost 6 pounds within the first 10 days, and then lost 20 by 30 days. So I started to realize that it is important, obviously, to watch what we eat, and it's important to watch how much we eat. But more importantly, the structure in which we eat, the portion sizes at each meal, and the timing does everything for getting your body and your metabolism to work the way that's supposed to. And the 3-2-1 eating method is super simple. 30% of your daily caloric intake at breakfast, another 30% at lunch, 20% at dinner, and then that last 20% is split into 2 snacks. One snack between your breakfast and lunch, and another snack between your lunch and dinner. This aligns with just a real life and a real way of eating. A real breakfast with protein, carbs, and healthy fats. A real lunch that helps you stay steady and regulate your blood sugar without feeling sleepy. A light dinner so you're not going to bed overstuffed. And small intentional snacks as well. Now I'm sure you're probably asking, this sounds cool and dandy, but how does this actually help me regulate my metabolism? This is why, right? Your body loves and is designed for rhythm, right? We have a circadian rhythm. When your body can predict and understand when the food is coming and it's happening at consistent times with enough protein and calories, it doesn't have to slam the brakes on energy burn. So we prioritize protein from our beef, chicken, turkey, fats from Greek yogurt, cottage cheese. Eggs can be a good mixture of both. When it comes to carbs, we prioritize fruits, especially things like berries, sweet potatoes, rice, high quality breads, right, like sourdough, or wraps if you tolerate gluten. And we also try to ensure we intake avocado, olive oil, grass-fed butter, nuts, and cheese. Stay away from low fat, stay away from ultra processed diet food. And something you really need to understand about this 3-2-1 eating method, here's why this works. When we get about 60% of our daily caloric intake earlier in the day, this actually doubles your body's ability to burn fat. And when we wait, on the contrary, to eat food later in the day, it actually can increase your body's fat storage by up to 30%. Having 2 snacks in between breakfast, lunch, and dinner is extremely important. I know snacking gets a bad rap, and it's often associated with being negative, as in like just eating unhealthy food. When you place 2 strategic snacks between your meals, it helps your body regulate blood sugar and decreases insulin sensitivity. It'll help start to curb some of those cravings that you have, especially later in the day. Now we're going to talk about something that's extremely popular right now that I think is very detrimental and harmful to anyone who's over 30 looking to fix their metabolism and start to really burn fat. And that is intermittent fasting. You've probably seen it everywhere. Skip breakfast, only eat in an 8-hour window. Fasting is the magic metabolic or metabolism fix. I am not in that camp, right? For a lot of people over 30, especially busy parents, stressed out workers, intermittent fasting often backfires. And here's why. First, most people do not actually fast, right? They simply just skip breakfast, drink a ton of caffeine, and then they binge later. So the day looks like this: starve, stress, crave, overeat at night. That is a perfect recipe for unstable blood sugar and muscle loss, and even more stress hormones, right? Second, if you're already under eating protein, shrinking your eating window makes it even harder to hit what your body needs to keep actually building muscle, right? Less protein equals less muscle and a slower metabolism. Third, many of my clients already live in a chronic stress state. Fasting becomes another stressor on top of poor sleep, busy schedules, and high workloads. Too many stressors and your body does the same thing over and over and over. Hold on to fat, drain your energy. So instead of playing timing games, I focus on getting enough protein, enough total calories, balanced meals across the day. That is what actually heals a sluggish, dysfunctional metabolism long term. Now, the third lever, stress and sleep. Now, as much as I wish it was true, you cannot outtrain a fried nervous system. When stress stays high and sleep stays low, cortisol rises and it will stay elevated, right? Remember, it should spike, especially during the day, but if it stays elevated, that is no bueno. That's a bad problem. High cortisol over time leads to more belly fat, of course, more cravings, and a slower thyroid response, which, if you remember, that thyroid gland is literally the thermostat of your body. It controls everything about your body's ability to burn fat, your blood sugar, the way your organs function. And when that thing is messed up, you have all kinds of problems. So alongside lifting and the 3-2-1 eating method that works for my clients, so other things that I really focus on that makes all the difference is you need to find a consistent bedtime. Get off your phone, turn off TV, go to sleep. You need to have a consistent bedtime and a consistent wake up time. You got to build a shutdown routine. The shutdown routine that I feel like works really well for myself and for my clients, I always go 3 hours before bed, the eating stops, 2 hours before bed, drinking any fluid, water, juice, whatever stops, and then an hour before bed, there's no screens, whether it's TV or phone, to improve and optimize your sleep. Now, a good routine could also include, right, dim lights, right before bed, hot shower maybe to help kind of wind you down, some light stretching, maybe doing some deep breathing before you go to bed. Obviously, some other things that kind of helps to ensure that you're tired when it's time for you to actually sleep is getting at least 10,000 steps in daily. This will help kind of de-stress you, get your body moving, tire you out a bit, instead of kind of letting that stress just sit on you. Some other simple practices that are good, 5 slow breaths before each meal, 10-minute walk, right after you eat. You don't have to really do it after every meal, but at least 1 to 2. These are small shifts, small changes that'll help with stress and help improve your sleep. I know we're all busy adults. We all have bills to pay, kids to take care of, things to do, but it's just so important for your health and for your stress to find time to really slow down. Take captive the things that are stressing you and not let them just run you over and work you over and never deal with it. So let's kind of pull all of this together. If you're over 30 and your metabolism feels slow, do not start with punishment. Start with structure. 3 to 4 strength training sessions per week. Focus on the big lifts. Do the 3-2-1 eating method so your body is consistently fueled, not constantly guessing. And make sure you manage and are mindful of your stress so your hormones can actually do their job. When you do this for 8 to 12 weeks in a row, you may not necessarily see that scale fall off a cliff immediately, but your body will start to change, your clothes will start to fit differently, your energy will become steadier, your hunger pains and your cravings will start to dissipate, your strength will definitely go up, and that is what fixing your metabolism actually looks like. It's not a cleanse, it's not a detox, it's no magic supplement. It's just a body learning to work the way it's designed to. Now, if this clicked for you and you're tired of trying to figure it all out alone, this is exactly what I help my clients do inside Fitness Emancipation. We rebuild your metabolism with strength, structure, and sanity so you can eat real food, lift real weight, and feel like yourself again without living in the gym or starving all day. And when you start to do that, these are the results you can look forward to. 15 to 30 pounds down, more muscle built, feeling lighter than ever, feeling better than ever, and your self-confidence returning. I hope this video was helpful for you. Now go lift something, go eat something, and go fix that metabolism. Today is the day. Start now, and I promise you won't regret it. Peace.